have some executions, you have some strategies. You know that they're not going to be held to not a higher standard, but of a higher degree compared to what a system like that would be. But getting into the pistol round, we are going to see Epsilon starting on the CT side and Virtus Pro taking T. I'm loving this stack from Epsilon. 4 players out toward this A bomb site, and they might run into a little bit of a mess already, as Crucial finds himself not 1, but 2, and Brokey finds a double for him as well. A beautiful pistol round to open it up for Epsilon. If there was ever a way to start a best of 1, it would be with such dominant fashion like that. Nice voice. Thank you very much. Where am I from? I'm from the UK. Where are you guys from? In chat. Where are you living? Never bet on VP again. Loses 1 pistol round. It is all over, boys. Yeah, this is online. UK. Nice, nice. Germany, Norway, Thailand. Dude, we got a wide range of people here today. I ignored India. Sorry, I didn't see it. There's like so many people typing right now. Don't worry about it. I'm sorry. I'd love to go to India. That's a country that I want to visit. Finland, Bulgaria, Switzerland. Dude, there's so many of you guys. All right, just everyone enjoy the stream while we can. Because as soon as Article 13 comes through, we're not going to be seeing many more of these. Still, though, second round is going to be an eco in the hands of Virtus Pro. They'll force into pistols and Kevlar. They'll be spending all of that cash on getting that economy out to be able to buy utility, some pistols, a little bit of Kevlar. But there's going to be nothing too crazy that should really provide too much of a round success here for VP. They have found themselves at least a frag, though. Bialy fairly low. And as that spam comes through the smoke, damage done by Crucial as well. Mihu, though, he will at least be able to take 1 to the grave with him and finds himself a FAMAS to work with as well. And with 3 MP9s, 3 very, very close-range dependent weapons already, they're going to see this round beginning to fall apart. And as Snacks finds at least a frag on to a further Epsilon player, that bomb goes down, and yet Epsilon, they've already called for that save. They'll be sacrificing a first round to VP. And in probably one of the most dramatic ways to do it. Such a clean pistol round, but a fall from grace. As Virtus Pro find themselves an instant reply here to kickstart their bout on Inferno. And at this point, this is a very, very good round to win. That second round is going to not only put so much cash into that T side to be able to get straight away AKs out on that field, but it's also now going to keep Epsilon at a little bit of disarray. Of course, with that CT money now, with the meta change, you usually see a eco in this scenario, but we're now going to have them full buy into a round. They'll have a lot of MP9s again, and a pistol on the Unsurreal. It's not too bad. It's not a big difference to make. The UK boy can handle a deagle, of course, and he'll try a little bit of a peek toward top mid, but in this scenario where we would typically see an eco right now, losing this one for Epsilon might not be the best of case scenario. What do I think of Def? I think he was, again, much like a German system, very, very smart to explore options in another country. And with a player like Def, who can on his day really do incredibly well. Like recently, he's been putting up great numbers. Like one of the real reasons that I've really enjoyed watching Complexity is just to see Def really. And yeah, he's been fairly good. Obviously with Complexity making a couple of changes now, might be the time for them to resurge again. Obviously they've had a couple of spots given to them by Rogue's departure of CS, but Ooh, still, in this round, of course, Epsilon going to be at a clear disadvantage with the AKs in the hands of that T side. Surreal looking for at least a kill of his own and does tag Bialy down to 44. Not enough to find a frag. And look at the time right here. If Surreal drops the bomb, and he might just do so, this can really start to fall apart for Virtus Pro right now. They have, I think, just enough time to plant. No, they do not, but it doesn't matter as Virtus Pro find the kills required to be able to close the round. All Epsilon had to do was sit and wait, but too many overpeaks sacrificing the round, and Epsilon, they find themselves with a defeat. VP take a second in a round that potentially they should not have been winning. That is definitely not a way to be losing a round. And in this third, or in this fourth even, it'll be VP finding their third. A simple cleanup of a push down mid from that CT side. Pretty standard and read very easily by the T side. But this is the vital round now. This is where Epsilon can put money into this round to get the purchases, albeit quite the limited buy. We see no defuse kits across that CT side. Utility is at a moderate level. No AWP, unlike Snatchy bearing his. Only a single AUG. I'm sure these Epsilon guys would love to have a couple more of those. Did see a lot of, or a question asking, do I think Virtus Pro can make it back to the top? At this current state, I'd say no. I think Virtus Pro, see, my opinion I had when this roster was starting to decline was branch out of the talent they had, you know, start going down to the lower regions, like your PAX, like your XCOMs, your Izako Boars, where there is quite a lot of talent, you know, Goofy, Mono, Stomp, Yedka, those types of players that you can pick up and really bolster a squad. But they tried that. They picked up Manice. They've tried players, obviously Sobo standing in. I think they had Sydney on trial at one point, subject to rumors. And it really hasn't worked, or they haven't given it enough time to really come together. So, right now I'd say maybe even branch out to European talent, but that's obviously against the VP way of doing things. They've been they've been obviously strictly Polish-based and having Polish rosters, and that's like, that's the real way for them to stay true to their brand, and rightly so. If you're an organization, there's obviously way more behind it than just your team. There's obviously the brand, the fans, your region that you obviously serve or owe a debt to for making you as strong as you are. But in my opinion, maybe European talent might be the way forward. But for this VP roster, I think like max you'd see them breaching like top 15, but I don't really see this side going as far as, you know, winning a DreamHack Open. Potentially that is on the cards, but DreamHack might just be, you know, the precipice for this team. But yeah, that's a good point. We have yet to see this VP side on LAN. I assume they might be going to GG League. I mean, I'd hope they do, for the fact that it's a Polish event. Obviously, there is a couple of invites. That's always a possibility. And that might be a better way where we can truly assess this side once we see them on LAN. And right now, they're starting off well. They're starting off against Epsilon in a decent way. They've got Epsilon, the CT side, have had very, very minimal buy rounds and mostly ecos this time. And again, they'll already be calling out a save, not even to save weapons, but just to carry Kevlar over. Because right now, there is very little that this CT side is putting into this game. They got such a crucial victory in that pistol, but it all fell apart when really it should have just gotten stronger. And Epsilon right now, as they go into the next round, they'll have plenty of cash, of course. They'll be able to put money into this round, potentially to see that AWP, to start to unleash the side. The talent that these guys have clearly showed online. Obviously, these guys qualify for the Charleroi Esports event, the 100 and X amount of dollars or euros that this event holds, and had to go through the qualifier system to do that. Of course, a very successful victory for those guys, but online, of course, is a whole different thing. Like, the online scene in this kind of level, whilst being packed with schedules and events and qualifiers, obviously there's literally not enough hours in the day if you're a tier 3 pro to play all of these. I say pro very loosely, semi-pro, professional, whatever. If you're getting paid, then sure. Anyway, not that it particularly matters, but with so many qualifiers, obviously not every game is going to really take your #1 priority, and that's the sad thing about this being online and how many games there are. But there's always going to be that way of, okay, this is our one online game done. We then have practice, or we then have a qualifier or another game. You're always going to have your mind somewhere else, if not fully in the game. Bring Sobol as well as Sydney. That's the pairing that I think it was either Virtus Pro or Kingwin before they brought in Daisha. They trialed Sobol and Sydney, and I'm pretty sure it was Virtus Pro. It was like subject to rumors, but I heard some things from the grapevine that they were trying. But Sydney, he's a great player as well. Obviously from was it mixed roster with when that was a thing. Still Crucial. This is what we want to see. Crucial bringing out that AWP, and he's already found himself 2 frags to start things off, down to a 5-on-3, and this is probably the best scenario that Epsilon will get in the next couple of rounds, providing they don't win this one, to be able to clutch a victory. And with just under a minute left on the clock, VP have to start making moves in this round. They have very little map control, but that might be the way to begin. Mihu takes out Crucial. That is the AWP drop, but Keto, typically the man vouted as that secondary AWP for Epsilon, he'll take the role on gladly. Even so, Brokey finds one, but not before Sobol can trade. They won't expect Surreal, but quickly react to him as Bialy able to trade one more. With both players of Epsilon coming from the similar positions, this might be the way to dethrone Virtus Pro in this type of round. Bialy, he'll play the really smart decision of heading around towards A Longo. Puts himself in such a better position, and Bialy finds a double. That, if anything but luck, is a way to finish a round. 6-1, and Epsilon, it's really not working in their favor this time. They must have really annoyed some high-up overlord, because the situations they're being gifted, or not, sort of more of a curse than a blessing at this point, are really not working in their favor. I think Mr. Cat, yeah, I believe Mr. Cat is a... I'm not even sure what it is. I checked out their website. It was all in Polish. But from the rough Google Translate that it provided, I'm pretty sure it's like an agent. I don't even know what it is. I couldn't explain it. It's a beautiful name though. We can't take that away. It's a great branding strategy. So, is Virtus Pro taking quite the hefty lead on the T side of Inferno? You've got to admit, T side is beginning to become a lot more favorable, typically on maps such as Inferno and Train, where you can get quite the amount of rounds on a T side if the ball begins to roll. And VP, if not doing anything in these rounds, doing a beautiful job of just managing how Epsilon are being able to play. At this point, they've had more eco rounds than they have buys. They've had more Desert Eagles than they've seen M4s in this game. And I think Virtus Pro, they'll be taking scenarios like those all day long, especially considering this is a best of one. It is so simple for a team like VP, even with not being able to contend with a top sort of end. Oh, Brokey, just hang on a second. We'll come back to that as he finds 2. Luckily, the bomb wasn't dropped in that kind of position, and they are able to breach the A site just barely. But in a 3-on-2, they have to move with a little bit of pace. The bomb will go down, and 2 players from short. Mihu tagged down to 51. He has to be able to remain safe, and already gets caught off by Surreal. They should now know where Snacks is, but if there was any man you'd want in a 1-on-3 in a scenario like this, it would be the man himself. He finds himself a first, trying to adjust for the second, and he takes it as well, and even adjusts for a third, and just as I predicted, if there was a man to win a 1-on-3, it'd be the god himself. In a scenario like that, Snacks making it 7-1 for Virtus Pro, and Epsilon, they are falling apart at the seams here. You can tell that VP, they've come into this game wanting to prove a point. They have come into this with quite the dominant opening. Epsilon, I assume, calling themselves a tactical pause unless it's Virtus Pro just to calm everything down a little bit. But at this point, why would you really want to? But I assume with the addition of that double AWP now with both Crucial and Keto, I'd assume that they've called themselves a little bit of time just to be able to discuss what will happen in this round, if anything, going in their favor. But VP, it's full steam ahead. And of course, this coverage is provided by Vortex Entertainment. We'll be giving you all of the English commentary for the Kalashnikov Cup Season 2, as well as many other events along the way during 2019 as well. So if you are enjoying the broadcast, make sure to hit that follow button, show a little bit of love, and come back for another one. Obviously, VP are going to be playing many games during this event. It's a Swiss system, so you at least play, what, 4 games, 5 games? But it maybe looks like we have a little bit of a tech pause as Virtus Pro call one of their own. We might just be a little bit delayed. But with you guys in chat, or maybe not. I was going to say we could have a little bit of a talk, but game live on either way. But we can still chat, of course. VP Smurf, and it seems like it at this point. Epsilon for me as well. I was actually watching one of their games. I'm pretty sure it was the game in which they qualified for the Charleroi Esport LAN in Belgium. And I was like, yo, these guys are really impressing. Or was it the DreamHack qualifier? No, it wasn't the DreamHack qualifier. I'm pretty sure it was the yeah, because it was against an Amiga. And I was like, yo, these guys are pretty sick. But obviously, on your day, like, this is a best of one. Like, it's totally not going to be an accurate representation of how a team's performing. Because in a best of one, you're always going to be in the middle of the map pool. You're always not going to have at least your strongest, if not second strongest map. Like, obviously, in a veto phase of a best of one, it's ban right the way through till that final map is left. So you're always going to be in the middle of the ballpark, really, on the map you can play. But Inferno's one of those where as soon as that steam begins to generate, as soon as your ball is rolling, you can really just dominate and dictate the entire play. 3-on-2, though, as that bomb goes down, VP have that site entirely locked and loaded. As Epsilon, they won't even try for a retake. Smart decision, though. They have that AWP. They have the M4. With that full Kevlar defuse kit, some decent utility. So, wise decision to save at this point. But with it being a best of one, it means that every single round, every interaction counts at this point. And Mihu, he'll do a great job of denying the save of Epsilon. The AUG more than the M4. Mihu just denying Crucial as well. That is nothing saved for Epsilon. And again, they're back down to square one. But yes, the AUG, it's an interesting weapon. Since the price was lowered, nothing about the stats were changed, which is what is crazy. This gun has been underlying for such a long time that when it was reduced from 3,300 to 2,750 or whatever it was, or whatever the price was, people started to use it as an alternative to the M4, and they realized even without any stat change, they were like, yo, for the price of this weapon, you can get so much more out of it than an M4. Hence why it became like meta. It was quite simple to adapt to, whilst having quite the random spray pattern for, you know, those casual MM noobs like me. But obviously for this type of scenario or this type of scene, the AUG was like a perfect replacement when an M4 was out of reach, and that's why it became so strong. But I'm sure you guys know that, but for anyone that doesn't. Exactly, it's in the game. Like, I saw a lot of pros complaining about how the AUG is too overpowered, Valve need to change the AUG. There was even like a demand to change it before the major, and I think that would have been a very, very bad decision on Valve's part. But like, it's in the game, like you can use it yourself. So like the complaint for me was like really false, because you could use it yourself. If you know it is that overpowered, why are you not using it, kind of thing. So VP right now just dictating this round as it comes. Bialy finds one more just to keep the attention of Epsilon potentially over toward that B bomb site. Meanwhile, VP, they encapsulate the A site. They get that bomb down. And it's going to be a 9th round for the T side. Surely double figures on the cards inevitably. Bialy even finds one more, and I'm fairly sure he might even know of Belen's final lying point. He will at least take a kill to the grave with it. But there should be very little that can be done right now by Epsilon to really slow down the pace of VP. (16-1) could be potentially. Ooh, Burger King and McDonald's. If I wasn't eating very strictly and going to the gym every day, McDonald's all the way. But as much as I'd love, you know, a nice little burger. Obviously, if you're in the UK, McDonald's monopoly is on, so free food all round, right? But yeah, Burger King for me, it's all right. It's there. But if you're in the UK, I think McDonald's is pretty good. But a lot of undivided opinion about that. But instead of making chat hungry while we're watching the game, we'll get them some good CS rather than food. And Keto, he's already been tagged down to 17. This is not good for Epsilon. Anything they're trying at this point is just not working out. It's being read by Virtus Pro so quickly. And as they try to adjust to it, as they try to make the changes, VP are just so quick to adapt that Epsilon, whilst they're changing, VP right now are just making sure that they don't allow Epsilon even a look into this game. But crucial, he'll start it off well. While being tagged to 46, he will come away with at least a frag, but Snacks, he's able to dodge the bullet, able to shut down the AWP and find himself one more. Somehow managed to sort of sneak away from Spellan as well here, and with Brokey inside of pit, this could really fall apart. Surreal and his teammate fall down as well, and this is not good once again for Epsilon. 3-on-2, and even though they're at a man disadvantage, there would be a situation, if any, like this that would be winnable. Like right now, VP, they're controlling the ballpark entirely. They've had 4v2s, 4v1s. A 3-on-2 is almost a blessing right now for Epsilon, but again, they're not going to choose to take that struggle. They're not going to choose to fight VP when they're so dominant and lose an AWP and an AUG. but 10-1. And Virtus Pro, they've hit magical double figures already in this first half. It doesn't seem literally 10 minutes ago, and it's probably not been since Epsilon won that pistol round, since they got the 5-man, sort of kept all 5 players alive in the pistol round. And from there on out, it was entirely VP. But this time, crucial. If there was any way to open it up, you need an AWP to be able to do that. When times are rough, when times are really dry in a game, you always look to that AWP to be able to just ignite that little bit of spark, because it's the easiest weapon to bag yourself a kill with. Bet on Sprout today against VP. Should you be worried? I mean, I didn't even know Sprout was playing VP, not gonna lie. But again, I assume it's a best of 1 for the GG bet. Oh, crucial. Okay, crucial. This is much better. Finds himself a 4K, but not before Sobol's able to finish him off. But that is such a better play from this Epsilon side. But again, you can't really say that it's a better play from Epsilon overall, because it was just crucial. He found the 4 kills required to shut down VP in this round, and you can almost guarantee, I could place my house on it, that he's not going to do that every single round. I mean, the poor guy is not superhuman. Still 10-2, and Epsilon get themselves around on the CT side. It's a way for them to stable their mentality, if nothing else, and at least try and know they have it within to find a couple more rounds. But I doubt VP would even want to give that opportunity away for Epsilon at this point. Ooh, Keto. Lingering around the edge of that smoke, looking for blood. And he will spot at least a 1 player. Mihu and Snacks tagged down by grenades, and that keeps them a little bit reserved. They can't go fully in at this point. They'll have to be the utility players whilst the rest begin to head down that banana push. But all 5 players there, and you can tell this is a dedication toward this B bomb site. Bialy, he'll find himself 1, and even though Spell and trades, it just gets counteracted by Mihu. And even as Surreal tries to make his way inside of Ruins, it will keep that Epsilon side at, again, another disadvantage. And you can see already, Crucial and Brokey, they do not want to aggress. They don't want to lose their weapons and already choose for that save option instead. But just as they get themselves a little bit more, just as they find themselves around, and oh my god, Snatchy just tagged, just legged Surreal through that smoke there. But as soon as Epsilon gets some form of clarity, VP just say no and deny it straight away. But even so, penultimate round of the first half, and the CT side will have plenty of money to be able to front a buy. There'll be no issues about putting weapons into this round, just like many as that CT loss bonuses begin to grow yet again, much like previous encounters in this first half. But it's all about being able to utilize those weapons, and Epsilon haven't really been the strongest in doing that, but this is where they start. Crucial finds a first, and so much grenade damage done as well. Keto trades back 1 more onto Sobol, and this slows down VP entirely. They haven't even thought about breaching the site yet, and Spellin takes 1 more. Into a 5-on-2, and this looks better from the CT side. Even if they can go into that second half with at least just 1 more round, it would look considerably better. And that 1 more round they're able to find. And as well, for any of you guys in chat, any of you lovely people, we do have a giveaway running for you. If you would like to join it, exclamation mark giveaway in the chat. I think it's a M9 Bayonet Forest DD pack minimal wear. I think it's like 180 euros. And we roll the winner at the end of this event. So for anyone that wants to join, you can do so. But 5-on-3, and again, it started well for Epsilon. And just as I said, you need those AWPs to be able to ignite your play. That is exactly what is happening again. Spellin and Crucial to both find themselves the AWP frags to enter this round with, and already looks considerably better for Epsilon. And again, you've got to think that at this point, Epsilon, they could do exactly the same thing to VP, what they've just performed in this first half. That is definitely a possibility. Albeit quite the illogical one, but it is definitely, like we've seen it before, especially on maps like Inferno, Train, Dust 2, maps that you can steamroll on. It can definitely get way easier, but how has Mihu been able to make it to that CT spawn? How has he been able to get there unnoticed? Surely Keto should be able to finish him off, and yes, he definitely will. The smoke blocking him off and forcing the push through that molly. Keto finds himself 1, 2, and a third. And Epsilon, they end it 11-4. And even though it looks weak, even though it looks like very, very minimal rounds, they could have faced a 14-1 half. So anything at this point is an improvement. Do I have Twitter or Instagram? I have both. My Instagram is private though. But I will definitely post my Twitter for you. If you would like to follow me. It is, I think it is in the title of the stream as well, but if you're on mobile, I don't think you can see it, which is sucks. But either way, second round to begin. And if Virtus Pro take this pistol round, you've got to say that they'll just begin to gain that momentum that they had moving forward in the first half. They'll just begin to realize that this game is slowly coming to a close in their favor. They need a response from Epsilon on their camp. They do anyway. I'm sure VP wouldn't like a response from that T side here, but utility to be thrown by Ito, maybe to draw attention away from this A site, but already for Yali, he's looking to start off. Snatchy finds 1, but doesn't matter when Brokey replies with 3. Even looks for himself a 4th as well, as he will be able to find it. That's the round there. That's the pinnacle round that Epsilon needed, but you've got to say they won the first round anyway in that first half, and we saw where that ended up for them. But providing that they keep the same mentality, providing that they don't allow Virtus Pro any type of input in this second half, there is definitely the world of possibility where this scoreline could go exactly the same way as the first did for VP. Because in CS, it can just happen like that. But even so, Virtus Pro right now, they are going to be just down to an eco. So Epsilon, they should be guaranteed a 6th round, especially considering that VP have stacked the majority of their players onto that A site. And as soon as Snatchy gets spotted, as soon as that info comes through, yes, he'll have a smoke, but with Mac 10s on that T side, they're not going to be scared about pushing through those. And yeah, Snatchy already dead. That's the B bomb site lost. The smoke doesn't allow VP any type of input back into the round. And even though they'll find themselves a couple of kills, they'll get very little out of this round. They'll get $300 for finding the kill, and that is about it. So a 6th round for Epsilon. And every step of the way, it's going to provide that little bit of hope, that little bit of resurgence, confidence to go into this Epsilon camp that they can actually grind these rounds back. I mean, 6 is actually not a distant scoreline. They can definitely get that many rounds, even in succession, to be able to do so. Brokey's been very good for me in this side. He's been one of the more consistent, along with Keto, who I think has been the shining talent of Epsilon. But with a team like Epsilon, it's interesting because obviously there's going to be, if contracts are signed, most likely a buyout for these players. If they've, signed contracts, they're like, okay, we commit to, 3, 6, 9 months, a year potentially. I think anything longer than a year in CS is quite barbaric, just because of how quickly the scene changes. But that's another matter for another day. But obviously, there's going to be buyouts. But if there was a side that wanted to pick up Keto, Epsilon have been known to be able to flip players relatively easily to be able to just make a quick profit off of them in a short space of time. They could be playing in the team for like a month. Maybe move on. You get what, like 100, like I'd say like 25, 10k off of the buyout, and that's like money into an org, right? But for me, this side has been one of the better iterations of Epsilon that we've seen probably since Smooya was on the team. Yeah, exactly. Like, Epsilon, they're a team that probably doesn't have as rigid a practice schedule as other teams. They'll play a lot of their scrims, they'll play some pickup games, they'll play FPL. And that's why, like you said, whoever that was in chat, I missed it, whoever the name was. Yeah, that's why you have a lot of talented players. Snatchy. That was a beautiful shot. Spellin hardly even exposing himself and already dead with a first AWP shot landing for VP. This is the round that matters most for the Poles right now. This is the round where they've been able to funnel that money into a buy round, get themselves the weapons, and be able to try and make a resurgence, an effect with these types of rounds. And Snatchy, he'll do a good job of starting things off, although that rest of the Epsilon side will begin to head toward that B bomb site. Very basic smokes and utility to be thrown. But on this B bomb site, those are the pieces of utility that are so effective. Crucial to the smoke, even finds Brokey as well, makes himself a first and a second, and Snacks, I'm pretty sure he just tagged Keto through the wall there. He does get dropped down to 4 HP, so dies relatively quickly. But with all players inside of CT and no smoke to protect, they find a first and they know where the second is now. This shouldn't be anything less than simple for Virtus Pro right here. And Sobol, he'll be able to bait and switch with Bialy, find themselves the final kill, and get themselves a 12th round. So already, they're making moves in the CT side. They won the round that mattered the most, but look at the build-up of money for Epsilon. Nearly $10,000 on both Keto and Crucial. Meaning there's going to be, of course, at least 1 or 2 more buy rounds on the cards for this T side. As this VP roster do go for the purchase, Snacks playing such a tight angle, but Keto, he falls down to it. Snacks is already looking for more. They don't even expect him to have changed positions. They're already working out where one player is, though, and Brokey It's a beautiful angle to check. Mihu sat second oranges and he'll get shut down because of it. Bomb will be planted. And in a 4-on-3 right now, Epsilon, they do have plenty of utility to be able to hold off VP, but Bialy, he finds himself a shot through the smoke and lands the bullet onto Surreal. The final bits of utility being used now for Epsilon, and time is running low for VP. Around 15 seconds left, and Brokey finds a kill. Snacks trades back. They have to get onto the bomb right now and keep Snacks alive, or else they do not. And is there time? There definitely isn't, I don't think. Or is there? No, there is not. Epsilon, they find themselves in 8th just from Spellan staying alive and being able to kill that first diffuser. And Epsilon make 8. Virtus Pro down to an eco now. And like I was saying, this T side, once you start to get snowballing, once you build up that money and get those first couple of rounds just to put confidence back in your side, it can do the world of good. And that has already been shown by Epsilon. They find themselves from 11-4 to 12-8. Most likely 12-9, because a single AK is going to be very, very difficult to win a round with, even if you have pistols to support it. However, Bialy, he'll find himself a first kill. Brokey does manage to reply though, and that does send all players of Virtus Pro toward that B bomb site. Sobol and Snatchy both tagged incredibly low, and as they head out toward that B bomb site, sorry, Ito and Spellan will find themselves fragged. Mihu does at least trade back Crucial, but of course he was low HP. Bialy coming in for 1, and he will be able to find it. This is now a 2-on-2, and this might get very, very difficult now into a 1 versus 1. And as that Molotov goes down, it forces Keto out of position. He now tries to go aggressive, and as he switches into first oranges, Mihu, he'll find the round. There is enough time to defuse, and Virtus Pro reply in a round they never should have had a say in. And if there was any way to get victory and really put Epsilon down a peg, that might have just been the round to do it. Because losing to what started off as a single AK with 4 pistols, and now you already sacrifice a round, you have very little money, and you're already losing your first man. 2 AKs left and 2 pistols to support it. This is not looking good right now for Epsilon, but luckily Brokey, the man that's been playing very consistently across this game, has already found himself a refrag. That does potentially give a pistol to at least 1 player, but Mihu, he'll find 1 more. Damage done to 2, but doesn't manage to convert them into frags. It does make it significantly easier, though, for the rest of VP to be able to find these kills, because they still have at least a single offensive grenade in the hands of Sobol. And they have those smokes to be able to work with as well. But is Sobol lining up a flash or a HG? Not too sure. There's definitely the flash there, the smoke to come through as well. If that HG goes into new box, then Crucial might just be dead, and he definitely is. A first kill found, and this is where it gets significantly easier. Surreal is trapped, but doesn't matter, as Brokey finds 1 and Surreal takes 2. Epsilon claim a round again to be able to offset Virtus Pro's momentum, and they find themselves a reply yet again here. 13-9, and Epsilon back onto a rebuy, and AWP gathered from that previous round off of Snatchy's dead body. And wow, these rounds, they're going back and forward to say the least. And with Virtus Pro very little in their hands this time. To the point where they have a single MP9 onto Snatchy. And Keto already looking for a kill. Doesn't matter. Brokey finds one, but Keto able to reply. This crucial. Oh, not only does he kill Bialy, but he headshots a second player through the wall to find himself a double. Beautiful play from Crucial there, and Sobol left in a 1 versus 3. A lot of luck in that kill, to say the least, but it's still beautiful. So, as right now we begin to see Epsilon making double figures. 13-10. And just as we thought Virtus Pro would continue their momentum from the first half, again, it's that T side that begins to give teams so much more of a chance to be able to find victory. So, as this time we see Virtus Pro into their full buy. Again, it's as limited as Epsilon's rounds were just 1 half ago. They have no defuse kits. Whilst they have their utility and an AWP, it is still not as great a round as Virtus Pro would have liked. And especially as Epsilon, whilst they don't have all too much themselves, that T side is what provides way more when you get victories. And this time they're doing a little bit of a fake here. They're trying to play mind games against Virtus Pro. And already as they hit toward that B bomb site, Surreal, he'll already find a kill, and that shuts out Virtus Pro entirely. Crucial gets caught in the smoke, but does manage to come away with his life. 28 points of health left, but I don't think he'll be too bothered about that. And already in a 5-on-4, Virtus Pro are calling for the save. Are you starting to see right now just the similarities between these CT sides? When we thought Virtus Pro were having such a dominant half, and Epsilon looks so incredibly weak, that is now entirely the same point. Epsilon have begun to grow in strength on that T side, and Virtus Pro are now the ones that look entirely desolate on the CT side of this half, or this game itself. And that is what can really trip a team up. So, Epsilon right now, they are looking particularly good to maybe snatch this game out of the hands of Virtus Pro. As much as the CT side wouldn't want that to happen, Snatchy, beautiful first shot though. A great way to be able to open up round number 25. Good grenade to land at the feet of Surreal. Surely he was hurt, and yes, definitely will be now. So they know they at least inflicted damage. 3 players toward this A site, getting ready for the Epsilon aggression. There won't be no chance of a fake this time, but Snatchy caught out by 2 players. And that keeps him quite the dangerous scenario. Even so, 4-on-4. Utility being thrown toward this A site. Sobol gets himself in a nice little off-angle position, but Brokey, he's aware of it already. Bialy, though, finds 2, but doesn't matter when it's offset by Spellan. into a 2 versus 2 right now, but doesn't matter. Snacks finds one more. Crucial able to trade though, and did they spot Mihu? Did they see his legs teetering out of the edge of the smoke? Not too sure whether they did, but Crucial, yes, he definitely has a little bit of an intuition right now. And as he goes for the swing, the timing just a little bit off. And Mihu, he's allowed to approach, already spotted, and Crucial has no idea. Virtus Pro claim a 14th round. But again, it is so much effort. Has to be spent by VP to be able to get these rounds. 1v1s, 2v2s. They have to grind out to be able to find victory against this T side. And it was just like Epsilon did in their first half. Any victory they got was so incredibly hard fought. Minus those, I think maybe 2 rounds at the end. And if you are here for the AGO Pro Stow game, then we might just have a little bit of delay. But we'll be starting in around like 5 minutes after this game is finished, so... Oh, Snatchy gets himself a beautiful double, and it seems like the beast has been awoken. Snatchy finds himself 3. That's the bomb dropped, and they now have all the information in the world. As Keto finds 1, Snatchy replies, and Brokey finally to trade back. Shuts out Mihu, but not before he's left on 12 points of health. But this could be perfect. He's picked himself up an AWP now, and he's looking for more. If Brokey was to win this round, that might just be the key to destroying Virtus Pro. Still, Sobol looking for the hold, and he's playing a little wide. He is backed up by Snacks, but not in an angle that will be preferred to him. Still, Brokey tries to peek, and he'll die because of it. 15-11, and it seems like Virtus Pro have finally been able to close out this Epsilon side. They now have very little to try and stop the Poles from gaining victory. They'll have themselves an AK, maybe 2 on Crucial. But right now, this is not good. Cuban, that's not how you call a tactical pause, buddy. Unlucky for that one. Virtus Pro will have to just play this round with, as it is, with live. But right now, Virtus Pro on the clutch, on the precipice of victory, just when it looked kind of very dangerous, as Epsilon were building rounds on that T side. But of course, there is still the chance of overtime. 4 rounds in a row is definitely not impossible. However, with a minute left on the clock, look how far Epsilon have been able to get out onto this A site. They are all the way deep into pit, but Bialy's played so smart. Only is good for a single frag though, and dies. Allows that bomb plant going down for Epsilon, and this might just get a little better for them. They now have 2 AKs and an AUG in play. Virtus Pro, they're calling a save. They do not want to be able to lose weapons in this round. They will gift a free victory to Epsilon with no challenge whatsoever. But in this situation, just look at their money. Snacks with $0 before that round. You'd only have 1,900 to buy now, and that's definitely not the way you want to be going about this. So Epsilon get themselves that full investment, even put Spellin onto an UMP. But he of course does have that full piece of utility. Snack's going to burn in the Molotov to begin with. Doesn't want to be taking too much damage from that, but he can afford a little bit. Ooh, Snatchy peeking though. That might not be the best scenario for you, buddy. Crucial's just been surrounded by 6 chickens there. Death comes to us all, apparently. Crucial not going to let those poor chickens survive. Probably the most chicks he'll be surrounded by in a while. Crucial has issues. Just absolutely just bludgeoning chickens in mid-round. Yeah, everyone's gonna be reporting Crucial to Peter right now. Oh, Mihu opens up this round with a double, and this might be where it begins to fall apart. Snatchy finds one more. Does get shut down, though, by Crucial, but Snacks, he's still alive on this bomb site somehow. Finally, Surreal to close him down, and Sobor's looking for one, but he can't afford to push beyond that smoke. Oh, Bialy with the FAMAS even comes out on top. That bomb has to be planted, and I think that's game over. It definitely is. And 16 to